I used to think jealousy was a sign of weakness, something insecure men clung to when they were too afraid to trust. I prided myself on being the opposite. Steady, measured, the kind of man who didn't flinch when his wife mentioned a male colleague or dinner with a group from work. But trust isn't blind. It's built, maintained, and if I'm honest, sometimes misused. It started small, like it always does. His name was Brett. Just a coworker, she said. She'd mention him offhandedly. How he made her laugh during long meetings. How he always knew the best high place near their office. At first, I smiled along. Why wouldn't I? I wanted her to have friends. And I wasn't about to become the stereotype, the husband who snarls every time another man's name slips into the conversation. But the mentions grew. More frequent. More familiar. Like the time we were at dinner and her phone buzzed, and she didn't even hesitate to read his message aloud, laughing before she did. Brett says he can't believe I actually cook. He thinks I just live on protein bars and sarcasm. She looked at me, eyes wide, waiting for me to laugh too. I did, but it felt off. I asked once, maybe twice, casually. So how close are you guys? And she waved it off with a smile that was a little too sharp. Oh my God, you're not seriously jealous, are you? He's like, work family. Work family. Whatever that meant. I shrugged it off. Told myself I was being paranoid. I even started making an effort. Offering to pick her up from work, suggesting double dates with her friends, asking more about her days. But Brett always lingered. One evening, I came home early, surprise flowers in hand. The apartment was quiet, her purse on the counter, jacket thrown over the chair. I could hear her voice in the bedroom, soft and laughing, but when I called out, the laughter stopped. She came out a second later, phone in hand. You scared me, she said, smile tight. Talking to your mom? I asked casually. She nodded. Yeah, just catching up. But her mom called 2 minutes later. Missed call. No voicemail. That was the first time I felt it. Not jealousy, but something colder. A question that kept showing up in the quiet. Who do you become when you no longer believe the person next to you? I told myself I wouldn't snoop. But when she left her laptop open one night, and I saw the chat window still up, my fingers moved before my mind caught up. Nothing explicit. Just inside jokes. A shared Spotify playlist. A string of messages about a lunch that wasn't on her calendar. I wore that green thing you said you liked. Winky face, she typed. And he replied with a gif, something about hard eyes. I closed the laptop. I didn't confront her. I didn't yell or accuse. I just asked, the next morning, while she stirred cream into her coffee. Do you talk to Brett outside of work a lot? Her eyes didn't flinch. Not really. Why? I saw your messages. The air shifted. She set the spoon down, too gently. Are you checking up on me now? I didn't mean to. It was open. I saw them. She crossed her arms, defensive. So what? We talk. He's a friend. You're seriously overreacting. That word stung, overreacting. Like I was a child crying over spilled milk instead of a man quietly watching the woman he loved emotionally drift toward someone else. But I let it go. Or at least pretended to. Weeks passed. We got quieter. Her phone got more secretive. She started sleeping with it under her pillow. Password changed. Notifications silenced. It was like there was a part of her life I'd been shut out of, and no amount of reasonable conversation could pry the door open. Still, I held out hope. Until the night of the company's fall party. She invited me. Said it was casual, just some coworkers, nothing fancy. I almost didn't go. I had a long week. But something in my gut told me not to miss it. We arrived together, and for a while, it felt okay. Normal. She introduced me around, held my hand, laughed at my jokes. Brett wasn't there yet. Or at least, I didn't see him. Maybe it was fine. Maybe I was overreacting. Then, just past 9 p.m., I saw him. He walked in like he belonged there. Tall, athletic. That kind of effortless confidence that feeds off attention. People turned. Smiled. And he smiled back, basking in it. And I might have ignored it all. Might have been willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. If it weren't for one thing. He was wearing my jacket. Not a similar one. Not something off the rack from a department store. My jacket. Custom fit. Monogrammed inner lining. A gift from my father on our wedding day. I knew every thread of that jacket. And there it was. On him, like it belonged. I froze. She saw me staring. Followed my gaze. And for a second, her expression cracked. Not shock. Not guilt. Recognition. She walked over to him. Too fast, too familiar. Touched his arm. Whispered something. He looked my way. Smirked. That was it. I didn't need more proof. I didn't need an explanation or a confession or one more empty apology. The jacket told me everything. I didn't make a scene. I stood there for a second, long enough for the image to burn into my memory. Him in my jacket, her whispering in his ear, that smug tilt to his smile like he already knew I wouldn't do anything. And maybe, for that moment, he was right. I walked out. No goodbyes. No confrontation. Just the sound of my own footsteps over polished concrete, and my heart thudding like a war drum in my chest. The air outside was cold, autumn sharp. I didn't even feel it. I got in the car and sat there with the engine off, hands on the steering wheel, watching people mill about inside through the windows. Laughing. Toasting. Somewhere in there, she was probably laughing too. Maybe about me. Maybe wearing my name like she let him wear my coat. The absurdity of it hit me all at once. Not just the betrayal, but how far I'd let things go. How many warnings I ignored. How I traded my instincts for the illusion of stability. I didn't cry. That surprised me. I thought I would. But instead, I felt this quiet, almost eerie clarity wash over me. Like something had snapped, not broken, but come loose. Something I'd been gripping too tightly for too long. I drove home. She didn't come back that night. Or if she did, it was after I'd already packed a bag and left. Not everything. Just what mattered. My passport. A few shirts. The watch my brother gave me after he made partner. The photo of my mother and me when I was 12. She'd framed it the year we got married. Said it reminded her of why she fell in love with me in the first place. I left the ring. On the kitchen counter, beside her half-drunk smoothie. I didn't leave a note. I didn't need to. By morning, I was in a hotel on the edge of town. A place with stiff sheets and quiet halls where no one asked questions. That was the first time I allowed myself to feel it. Not just the betrayal, but the loneliness that had crept in long before him. Because here's the truth. The jacket was just the final straw. Long before that night, something had started decaying between us. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Just a slow erosion of the small things. Late-night talks, Sunday coffee runs, the way she used to reach for my hand under the table when she laughed. They'd disappeared. Or worse, they'd been redirected. Given to someone else while I sat there thinking the silence was normal. Necessary, even. The next day, I called in sick. I turned off my phone. Sat in that hotel room with the curtains drawn and thought about every time I had second-guessed myself. Every time I'd been told I was too sensitive, too suspicious, too controlling. And then I thought about him, wearing my coat like he earned it. I wondered what else she gave him. Not materially. Emotionally. The things she used to give me without hesitation. I didn't spiral, though. I didn't drink or rage or make impulsive calls. I made lists. I opened my laptop and wrote down everything that was in my name and everything that wasn't. I contacted a lawyer. Not to file. Not yet, but to understand. To arm myself. It wasn't revenge I wanted. It was closure. It was my life back. She didn't call until the second day. No text first. Just straight to voicemail. I didn't answer. Her voice sounded light, casual. Hey babe, haven't heard from you. You okay? Call me. That was it. Like nothing had happened. Like my absence was a mild inconvenience and not the start of something permanent. On the fourth day, she messaged, "We need to talk. I'm worried." That word. Worried. It made me laugh out loud, bitter and sharp. She didn't seem worried when he was wearing my coat. On the sixth day, she showed up at my office. I saw her from behind the blinds. Arms crossed, face pinched with concern. My assistant asked if she should let her in. I said no. That night, I got a longer message. Not angry, not panicked, just calculated. Look, I think we're both tired. Emotions were high. Brett and I are just friends, okay? I don't know what you think you saw, but it's not like that. Can we just talk? I stared at that message for a long time. The way she downplayed it. The way she made me the emotional one again. Overreacting. Misinterpreting. It was like the jacket didn't even register for her. I typed back. Who gave him the jacket? 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then nothing. I didn't follow up. Instead, I called my brother. I hadn't told him yet. Just said I needed to hear a familiar voice. We talked for over an hour. Didn't even get into the details until the end. When I told him about the jacket, he went silent for a beat, then just said, "You already knew." The jacket just made it real. He was right. Sometimes it takes something physical, something stupid and obvious, to make your heart catch up with your brain. I spent that night going through photos. Not of her, of me, trying to remember the last time I looked genuinely happy. It had been a while, longer than I wanted to admit. The next time I saw her, it wasn't planned. I was grabbing coffee downtown, one of those crisp mornings when the sky is too blue and the air smells like endings. I'd just come from my lawyer's office, papers in my bag. Separation agreement. Clean. Thoughtful. Not vindictive. I didn't want a war. I just wanted out. She stepped out of a boutique as I passed, laughing with a friend. She didn't see me at first. Her hair was up, sunglasses on. Still beautiful. Still familiar in a way that made my chest tighten. But something had shifted. In her. In me. Like we'd both finally started telling ourselves the truth. When her eyes met mine, the smile vanished. She stepped toward me, half a beat of hesitation in her walk. "Hey," she said. Just that. Like we were old classmates, not broken pieces of the same house. I nodded. "Hey, I've been trying to reach you," she said. I gestured to the coffee shop. "Do you want to talk?" She agreed. And for the first time in a long time, we sat across from each other with no audience, no pretense. Just silence stretching between sips. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she finally said. "It just got confusing." I didn't answer right away. I looked out the window. A couple walked past, hand in hand, laughing about something too far away to hear. It reminded me of us. Years ago, before all of this. "Why the jacket?" I asked quietly. She flinched. It was cold. He didn't have his. He spilled something, and I had it in my trunk. "I forgot it was yours." "You forgot. I didn't think you'd notice. I didn't think it mattered." I looked at her. That jacket mattered to me. Not because it was expensive, because it came from someone I loved. "You knew that." She swallowed. Hard. "I wasn't cheating," she said, eyes flicking to mine. "Not the way you think. Not physically. But, yeah, emotionally, I guess I was somewhere else. I didn't know how to come back from that." I believed her. That was the strangest part. I truly believed she hadn't crossed that line physically. Not yet. But emotionally, she had moved miles from me, and I hadn't even noticed how far until I was waving to her silhouette on the shore. "You could have told me," I said, "when you started drifting. I didn't want to hurt you. You did anyway." She nodded. Tears welled in her eyes. Not for pity. Not to manipulate. Real ones. But they didn't move me. Not the way they once would have. "I signed the papers," I said. "They're with my lawyer." She looked down. "You're really going through with it?" "I am. I thought we might try. Counseling, maybe." I smiled. Not unkindly. "If we'd done that 6 months ago, maybe. But not after the jacket. Not after how small you made me feel when I asked for honesty and got gaslit instead." "I didn't mean to. I know. But you did." We sat there in that quiet honesty for a while. She wiped her eyes. I finished my coffee. "You're not a bad person," I said finally. "But you were careless with someone who loved you." She nodded. That was the last thing we said. She stood up, placed her sunglasses back on, and walked out. I stayed. Sat there watching strangers pass. The sound of their laughter a soft reminder that life moves forward. Sometimes without explanation, sometimes without fairness, but always with motion. I moved out of our apartment 2 weeks later. Got a small place near the lake. Sparse. Quiet. But it felt mine. The first morning there, I found the jacket in a box I'd packed months ago and forgotten. I ran my fingers over the lining, felt the weight of it. I didn't cry. I didn't get angry. I donated it. Not out of spite, but because some things shouldn't follow you into your next chapter. Some things were symbols, and once they lose meaning, they're just fabric. A few months later, I started therapy. Not because I was broken, but because I didn't want to carry this into the next person's life. I owed myself that much. People ask sometimes if I'd ever take her back. I wouldn't. Not because I hate her. I don't. But because love, real love, isn't about perfect fidelity or grand gestures. It's about showing up when things get hard. It's about choosing the person beside you every day. And when she stopped choosing me, something fragile broke that can't be rebuilt. If you're reading this and something feels too familiar, if you're brushing off that uneasy feeling, making excuses for the silence or the strange laughter behind closed doors, just know this. You're not overreacting. You're recognizing. And sometimes, that's the first step towards saving yourself.